And welcome to JFP Sports, where fantasy and sports talk lives. Well, hey, we're live and in color finally. It's Puma, yours truly, Ricky P, and we got a guest, behind the glass over there, Gabby, my bestie. So we are here today because it is the NFL 2019 draft, and we're brought to you by us truly, JFP Sports. So we're going to start off, but first, look, I can do that. Throw paper around because we are live. Okay.
Yeah, it's good to be here. This is what, our 1 year anniversary?
1 year anniversary, by the way. And look at the nice little setup I got going on over there. My two best quarterbacks, Darnold, 1 year in the league, Prescott, 3 years. It's looking great, right?
Yeah, maybe they'll win this year.
Yeah. So let's start 2019 draft. We're going to kick things right off. But first, I'm going to give you Puma's top five. Okay, we have Nick Bosa from Ohio State. That's a defensive end. Josh Allen from Kentucky, edge rusher. Quentin Williams, Alabama, defensive tackle. Jawan Taylor, offensive tackle. This draft is very heavily in offensive tackle and defensive players. Quarterbacks, I think they need another year of development, but who knows. And fifth, Greedy Williams, the cornerback from LSU. I think he is a great cover corner. Can be the next Aqib Talib, actually.
Yeah, before we start, we just want to say that all of these draft picks are not including trades.
Right.
Obviously, what happens tonight will not affect what we say right now. Only we can't predict trades, even though we think we might be able to. Who's going to move up, who's going to move down. But this is just going off with the order we have right now.
No, absolutely. And let's kick things off. Okay, first round, first pick. Arizona is on the clock. Oh, by the way, I will be taking all the odd picks, and Rick over here will be taking all the even picks.
So if you want to place a wager, listen to the even picks. I think is what we just
right. Okay, hey, let's not forget whose name is on the show. But anyway, okay. So we'll kick things off. Arizona, you are on the clock with the first pick, and I go Kyler Murray. What do you think about that?
Yeah, he's the most explosive, but he also has the most question marks. I think Cliff Kingsbury wants a quarterback that's going to run, literally, and gun, literally. We've never seen anything like this. They brought in Cliff Kingsbury with no experience. He had this at Texas Tech.
Right.
And I think this is going to be a perfect match, and it's going to bring some fireworks to Arizona early.
I mean, it brings that air raid offense. Like you said, it brings the college offense into play, and I don't think Josh Rosen could possibly run that. I mean, he's more pro style, and they have to choose here, because I had written the other day in the JFP Sports storyline that they don't even know who they're going to pick. But right now, I'm going to say Kyler Murray because that's who he's been crushing on.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay, number 2 pick, San Francisco is on the clock. Where are you going here, Rick?
The first defensive player of many, what we think, and it's Nick Bosa.
Okay.
He can really play in or out. I personally think he's already going to be better, I should say, than his brother Joey. He's so versatile. I think when we get later into this first round, we're going to see guys that are either in or out. I think Nick Bosa can really, really win in many different ways, and he will ultimately change what we know to be a defensive pass rusher.
No, absolutely. And when you talk about these defensive pass rushers, you talk about swim moves, you talk about bull moves. And a lot of these guys actually do ballet moves just so they could be very swift, very mobile. And my biggest comp on him was actually his brother. And if you could go back into that 2016 draft and take his brother Joey Bosa first, you would probably think about doing it because he is a dominant force in the NFL.
Yeah, no, they're very similar. I guess the last brother comp could be Peyton and Eli, but the quarterback position, obviously, they're a lot more scrutinized. But at the same time, I think this is going to be a player that might be better than his brother.
Okay, I can't argue because we're doing mock draft. Okay, 3, the New York Jets, my team, Jets Nation out there. Let's get this right. So I say the New York Jets go Quentin Williams, defensive tackle from Alabama. I believe he can be the next Aaron Donald. He shows flashes of that on tape, which everybody goes by. Also, too, he plays the zero technique. Now, Ricky and I will say these technologies or whatever, but they just mean different things in the NFL, different terminology, I mean. So zero technique would just be over the guard, over the center, which is called the A-gap. That's where you want to get pressure on a Tom Brady, Drew Brees, because that's a non-mobile quarterback issue. They cannot move when there's rush up the middle. A 3 technique is an edge rusher, a guy on the right or left side, usually a defensive end, outside linebacker in Josh Allen or Nick Bosa. So I say the New York Jets go Quentin Williams. Not a bad pick. I don't want them to trade the pick. Please, God, don't trade the pick, but we got to see. But that's what I would take if I were Mike McCagnon. What do you think of that pick?
Yeah, he's the youngest for sure. I think he definitely exploded the most last year. No one really knew about him, honestly, and that's the way Alabama kind of works. We just see new guys pop up.
Blew up at the combine.
Yeah, he looked. I thought he actually looked a tad overweight from just my perspective, but I think he's going to be an absolute stud. And if the Jets get him, it would be an A-plus pick in my book.
And let's not forget, the defensive coordinator for the New York Jets is of Greg Williams, so he could bring that ferocious. Look what he did with Myles Garrett. Setting him up in advantage points on the Browns defense. The Browns defense was top 5 in the run game. So I believe if they could bring over the same kind of techniques over to the Jets, hey, who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, Raiders are on the clock. Oakland, they have 3 picks. Get it right, Gruden. What do you got, my friend?
Ed Oliver. Coming into this year, I thought Ed Oliver was by far the best player. And a few things that derailed him had nothing to do with football. One of them was problems with the coaching staff.
Yeah.
When a player like that comes from Houston, a smaller school, he's the guy. Sometimes he kind of might be a little different in the locker room. He's not exactly there.
That's like me at work.
Yeah, well, sure. But at the same time, I just think he's the most disruptive. I think coming into the year, he was my number 1 guy.
Okay.
And I think if the Raiders can get him at 4, I think that would almost be a steal. And we usually don't say steals at the 4th overall pick.
You know what it is also, too? Consistency. All professional athletes, if they can consistently repeat the same mechanics, the same techniques, then that makes you a professional. But can he repeat that? I mean, he showed flashes in the pan and then flashes of taking plays off. Like you said, he's different. And can the Raiders, who are their own animal, moving to Vegas, can they deal with that different?
Yeah.
And AB. I mean, you got Barnum and Bailey's.
I think and Oakland's used to that type of stuff. But I think his biggest question is his motor. Is he day in, day out going to want to get better? And I think if the answer is yes, he's going to be great. If the answer is no, we might see an early bust. So we'll see.
Okay.
But I would like that pick for Oakland right there.
All right, folks. Now we move on to the 5th pick. And you know what? It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the clock. And you know what? The best player's on the board still, so I'm going to have them go Josh Allen. They have former head coach Toilet Bowles from the New York Jets as the Buccaneers not the head coach, Jesus, he wishes. No, the defensive coordinator. And I believe Bruce Arians trusts him with the defense. That's the only thing they could trust him with. And, he's going to go get the best pass rusher in this league, who I believe is the next Khalil Mack. Play edge rush, and they lost Quan Alexander in free agency. So that's a big need for them. Get a little pass rush because the Buccaneers, they can't stop you, me, Rick, and my mother-in-law. So that's it. Going on to the 6th pick, we have the New York Giants, the football Giants. Rick, where are you going with this?
I'm not going to go quarterback. We'll address that a little bit later, but I think Devin White. Look, I think he really exploded the most. His exponential growth this season was through the roof. Other than Quentin Williams, I think he really took a big step forward. Mm-hmm. He could play multiple positions in terms of the linebacker. I think he's a better prospect than Roquan Smith was, and we were really high on him last year. He's quick. He's got good instincts. He's 6 feet, 240.
And they haven't had any linebacker play since, what's his name, Chase Blackburn. Remember Chase Blackburn?
Yeah, I mean,
jeez.
And I think letting Olivier Vernon go, to me, personally, was a sign that a linebacker might be on the way. And if that is the answer, it's probably Devin White.
Not a bad pick there. Okay, with the 7th pick, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Got a new quarterback in Nick Foles. They still have the run game with Leonard Fournette. He got arrested 2 weeks ago. Great, him and every other NFL player out there. But with that said, let's get them a little help in Jonah Williams, offensive tackle. I believe he's the next Joe Thomas, road grader, lead blocker. And at Alabama, he was a sure at the blind spot. What do you think of that pick?
Yeah. I find Florida lineman.
Well, he's Alabama.
Oh, sorry, Alabama. Sorry.
But he's going to Florida.
Yeah, sure. He's going to Florida. I don't know.
Duval.
I think Jacksonville needs a lot of help, and the number one key for them needs to be keep Leonard Fournette on the field. I don't know what's going to happen. I've heard trade rumors with him. He doesn't really want to be there. Coughlin's a little old school, and we kind of see that trend, the old school coaches and the younger guys, little riffraff. But if they continue to try to progress in the run, play action type, they need someone like him. Look, they need a lot of help. I think some of these teams, I think the 49ers will be better than they were. And that's the thing here. We're going best prospect.
Correct.
So it's also some team need and what they might be bringing in and things like that. So obviously all these teams need help, but I think Jacksonville is in a really bad way that they need a lot.
Right. I mean, I think the best lineman that they had in past years was Luke Jokel.
Yeah.
So they need some more help up there. You just spent $88 million on a quarterback. Right. Go get them some help, and you got they run the ball 80% of the time. Get some fatties up there in the trench.
Yeah, no, and hopefully he is one that can actually help out there.
All right, moving on to the 8th pick. We have the Detroit Lions. Rick, what do you got for me?
T.J. Hawkinson. I think they struck out with Eric Ebron.
Yeah,
struck out in the way that they didn't. Now I don't know if this is a knock on Matt Stafford, but Andrew Luck has done pretty well with him, right? I think he had double-digit touchdowns for the first time in his career. Stayed healthy for the most part. I think he played in 14, 15 games. So I think they're going to try again with Hawkinson. And I didn't mean to interrupt, but he's one of the few tight ends that can actually block and catch.
Right.
We don't see that often anymore. We don't see a Rob Gronkowski, a Travis Kelce, George Kittle type of tight end.
And that was my comp going in. Rob Gronkowski. And Patricia has seen it enough being in New England all those years. I think this is a perfect fit for him. And I think Matthew Stafford with a big target, he just missed out on Ebron, who's with Luck in the Colts right now, who couldn't catch a cold. Other than that, T.J. Hawkinson to the Detroit Lions, I love it because I had that on mine as well.
Yeah.
Another Iowa tight end going off the board in just a sec. The Buffalo Bills at 9. And I have them taking Noah Fant. Hey, listen, they invested in a quarterback in Josh Allen. He needs more weapons. In free agency, they got Cole Beasley. I believe they got a bunch of other additions. Oh, John Brown. Yeah, he sucked for me in fantasy. He couldn't catch either.
Wasn't great for Baltimore either.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so Noah Fant, I think he's the next Jimmy Graham. These tight ends are more hybrid guys. They're just glorified wide receivers that are just 6'5", could catch the ball, but they can't block. So you put him in the slot, catching balls all day, bro. So Noah Fant from Iowa, 2 Iowa tight ends going back-to-back, by the way, to the Bills. Number 10, we have the Denver Broncos and Elway. Where are they going?
And this is where I think the first quarterback comes off the board, right here at number 10. Look, Dwayne Haskins, to me, is the best pro prospect in this class. His big knock, and we've seen it before, is experience. You can't teach experience. I think playing in the Big Ten against teams like Michigan and Michigan State, and he had a nice bowl game, I think that helps him. I think we can both agree, tell me if I'm wrong here, we don't think this is the strongest quarterback class.
Not at all.
But especially, compared to last year, guys like Josh Allen and Rosen would be clearly number 1 in this year.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think we could both agree Haskins has to be the top prospect. And look, Elway struck out with quarterbacks before.
It just reminds me so much of Jamarcus Russell. I think because
I was going to say he reminds me more of Elway in just terms of his pocket. I think the big thing with Jamarcus Russell, if we want to take going back in history, it was his athleticism. Not that he was, I guess, the beginning of the type of guy who can run.
Right.
We look at all the great quarterbacks; they can't really run.
Right.
Haskins doesn't really run. He can get you 3rd and 4 and pick it up, but he's certainly not Kyler Murray.
Well, you see, the thing with that example, too, and for the folks out there, in a quarterback, all these college coaches, professional coaches, but the college coaches try to teach them to climb up into the pocket, look over the safeties. You do not want to be staring down your receiver and then get picked off. Because in the pros, you're going to get taken back for a pick six. That's just the truth of the matter. So all it is about pocket awareness, stepping up into the pocket, and throwing versus running. But Dwayne Haskins, 10 to the Denver Broncos. I like that.
The first quarterback not named Kyler Murray. I forgot to add.
Okay.
Because let's all assume Kyler Murray's going over.
Right. We assume he's going over one. But also, too, I'll throw a little wrench in there. There were reports that Oakland was interested in Kyler Murray or Dwayne Haskins, which would throw a whole wrench in the whole draft, and maybe Derek Carr is on the market. Well, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah, right. Again, and this is no trades involved when you make these picks.
Yeah, because then I'll have a headache more than I have right now. Anyway, so we'll move to number 11, okay? And we have the Cincinnati Bengals. And you know what they could need? They need a corner because they can't stop anybody. Even the Browns they couldn't stop. And they definitely ain't going to stop OBJ and the Juice and Huggins and what's the tight end from the U? Njoku, Jesus.
So, between the Steelers, we know the Ravens can't really throw the ball,
right.
but they still have an offense. You know, They can run the ball. The Steelers are going to sling it, and we know the Browns are going to sling it, so they really need a quarterback.
So Cincinnati Bengals, I'm giving you Greedy Williams, the best cornerback in the draft, cover corner, and he'll be all day on OBJ like you know what on Rice. Finish the last sentence. Anyway. Number 12, because we have to move on. 12, we have the Green Bay Packers. My friend, where are you going with this pick?
I'm going to go Andre Dillard. Look, They finally figured out their coaching situation. I think at the same time, they need to figure out who's going to block for Aaron Rodgers. Right. I think Andre Dillard, in my opinion, is the best offensive tackle in this group.
Really?
Yeah, I personally think he's a little bit more athletic.
Than
Mr. Taylor out of Florida. But his big knock is that he's got short arms. And we've seen with these pass rushers, they like to extend their arms, they like to get up into you, and they like to be quick off the ball. I don't know if that's exactly going to work. It's ironic because I think someone that might be a little bit bigger would be better for Aaron Rodgers, but I think Dillard might be a tad undersized, but I think that's going to work to his advantage.
And you know what? That's a big need for them. Aaron Rodgers was running for his life last year, and I wouldn't have gone Dillard there because, again, like he said, the short arms. You get a pass rusher coming upside of you, he's going to knock you out and the quarterback, especially from the blind side. So that's a definite work in progress, but who knows? You know, that's why we're sitting here and they're sitting there. But, okay, so we're going Dillard at 12 to the Green Bay Packers. I am on the clock. 13, Miami. And Miami, you're going to get a former Paladin from Paramus Catholic. You're going to get Rashawn Gary from Michigan. I think that's a great pick. I mean, they lost a lot of defenders in the offseason. And with a new coach, Brian Flores, the ex-Patriot defensive coordinator, loves defense. He gets to stack up here. What do you think about that?
Another guy with a motor. He had his injury problems in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
There were reports that he might not have been willing to come back as quickly as maybe some would have liked to think.
Mm-hmm.
And that scares me with some of these big D linemen because these guys are big, they're physical, and they get, guys fall over their legs.
Right.
And when you have a leg problem and your motor is questionable, I think we can agree to disagree maybe that their motor might get in their way. Now, I know you're a talent guy.
Yeah,
so you want the talent, and you'll worry about the motor once they get there.
Right. I believe you have professional coaches in their responsible duties to get the most out of the player. It definitely goes back to OBJ and the Giants. The best talent on the field. Can I get the most out of him? I know he's a head case. He has his problems at times, but can I get the most out of him? Life is about dealing with different people, different problems. Not everyone's going to be the same. So, to that credit, I believe Miami Flores can get the best out of him because he is an ex-general at with the Patriots, and he got the most out of Trey Flowers. So I'm seeing something where he could probably mold a Rashawn Gary into a Trey Flowers. And if Rashawn Gary has Trey Flowers' career, he's going to be sitting in a mansion somewhere in South Beach.
Yeah, I mean, now I feel like all these first-round picks are going to be in a mansion somewhere. It's just, maybe location is just as important. It
depends. 14th pick, Atlanta's on the clock. Where are you going, my friend?
I'm going to go with Big Cody Ford.
Okay. I like that.
Big kid from Oklahoma.
Get some protection from Matty Ice.
Yeah, and you want to talk about guys that know how to cover for a long time because Matty Ryan can extend plays.
Right, correct. With Julio Jones and
exactly.
all that stuff.
Cody Ford at Oklahoma, there were highlights, some plays that I was watching, and he was running a tad behind Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is by far the fastest guy on the field whenever he steps on the field.
Absolutely.
And he was not too far behind. This kid's athletic. He's quick. I think he's the perfect guy for Matt Ryan. And, we've seen things in the past with Matt Ryan and him not getting protection. We both agree that at some point the quarterback can't hold on to the ball. But when you have a guy like Julio Jones, who's a deep threat, and Calvin Ridley, who we've now seen he can play, I think that you need a guy who can really block a long time. And he's got quick feet, and I think he'll do a great job for Matt Ryan.
Great pick there. So moving on, the 15th pick, okay, we have the Washington Redskins. And folks out there, you're wondering about Montez Sweat. He fell a little bit in our draft just because reports were coming out he does have a heart issue. I believe late injuries came up of the season last year. So teams, we feel that maybe he'll slide, not too much, but he'll slide a little bit. So back to the draft. And with the 15th pick overall, I say the Washington Redskins go A.J. Brown. Doug Williams said it himself. They need receivers. They got rid of Crowder. Josh Dodson is a bust. All right? I know the kids at Fort Lee High School that can run faster than him. And nothing helps a quarterback more than a good possession wide receiver. And A.J. Brown is that. I think he is the mold of a Jarvis Landry, a Reggie Wayne, who can run a great route, and just being overshadowed by DK Metcalf just because DK Metcalf looks like Batman from, I was going to say Avengers. No, not Avengers. I'm seeing that tomorrow. From Justice League. So A.J. Brown, I think, is the overall better receiver, better route runner. And like I said, if you have quarterback problems, it's good to have a good wide receiver to bail you out. What do you think of that?
He had a foot problem again. I love his explosiveness. I really, really do. What's their quarterback situation?
I mean, it's either Colt McCoy or Case Keenum. So throw it up there.
Right, and that's my problem. We don't know who the quarterback is going to be. We assume Alex Smith will not be playing anytime soon.
He's got Walker somewhere.
Right, yeah. He's got other issues to worry about.
Right.
But at the same time, if Case Keenum, I think we can both agree, would be the best for him because he can throw the ball down the field. If it's Colt McCoy, you might as well get us out there. Don't waste the draft pick. Draft one of us, save a lot of money, and we'll be just as useful as he would be. Because I think he's a great deep threat.
Absolutely.
And if the guy's not going to throw it more than 15 yards, you can go get a Montez Sweat. Again, the Redskins need a lot of help too.
Right.
We're still in the category that these teams need a lot of help.
Right.
So you can get a Montez Sweat. I've got Cleveland Farrell still on the board. You still have him. We still have all our Clemson linemen. So I think they can go in another place if they haven't figured out their Redskin their quarterback situation.
And with the Redskins, Jets fans out there, don't be surprised if they make a move for Dwayne Haskins. There's also been reports out there that they're interested in the quarterback, and the Jets, don't be surprised if they're in the 15th spot come tonight at 9 p.m. So, moving on, the 16th pick overall in the first round. Rick, where are you going?
This is where I'm going to go with Mr. Sweat.
Okay.
We haven't used Montez Sweat. Honestly, for all you folks asking why he hasn't been picked, this heart issue seems to be
tell him again.
In all seriousness, this seems to be something that's not serious. Yeah, it's pretty serious. From what I saw today, it was misdiagnosed. He really did have issues at Mississippi State.
Right. He's freak though. He's a freak though, bro.
If in all seriousness, I think he might be a top 5, top 10 player if this health thing, if he can get through this. But
yeah. I think I got a little more muscle on him, but that's another story.
More muscle than him?
Yeah.
You don't have more muscle than the water bottle you're drinking.
Oh, thank you.
But at the same, no, in all, I think that
JK.
I don't know if he's going to drop this far.
Uh-huh.
Just after you made your AJ Brown pick,
Right.
Your Hollywood Brown.
Well, the Hollywood Brown is Oklahoma. This is AJ.
Sorry, AJ Brown, the kid from Ole Miss.
Yeah.
At the same time, I just think that this would be too far. I don't expect him to drop this far, and I don't know if you were going to take him after, but we keep updating our lists as we move along, and I was
that's a great spot for him. That's a great spot for him.
Yeah, I don't even see him falling this far.
So he's going to Carolina, 16.
I'd be shocked if he even got this far, but I think this would be the latest that he fell.
Great pick. Okay, 17th overall, the New York Giants again. This is the OBJ trade, okay, from Cleveland, which is terrible because they got a 17th round. They should have got a higher round. But they have the pick nonetheless. Hopefully it messes up so I could have his job later on in life. So with the 17th overall pick, I have the New York Giants going Daniel Jones from Duke. Now this cat, 6'5", literally looks and plays like Eli Manning. So why not sit behind a guy that you've been training with? Oh, well, he went to his camp back when he was 17 years old.
What does the camp have to do with anything?
Well, because he's been training all his life to look like Eli Manning. I can't even say his name right. Book of Eli. He's been training all his life to look like him, play like him, act like him. And you know what? The New York Giants like guys like that. They don't like guys like me, OBJ, or the Wildcats. They like those nice country bumpkin, hey, how are you doing? They like those kind of guys. And I believe Daniel Jones is that. He won't cause any trouble, and he'll run Pat Shurmur's offense.
So we've been going back and forth. You know, at this point, I'd be taking 18 just because it's the Giants pick. We both agreed that the Jets would be probably taking Quinnen Williams. So I'll double up with the Giants, and then I'll do 18. I have a quarterback, and his name is Drew Lock.
Okay.
I think this kid's arm is explosive.
Jay Cutler, in my opinion,
and
or Matthew Stafford. It could go either
and that
way.
could be the comp. But we've also seen guys with big arms be able to light it up early in their careers. Now, I think Daniel Jones is a safer pick. If I'm a Giant fan and I see Daniel Jones, I'm saying, all right, hopefully I get Eli. If I get Drew Lock, I think Drew Lock's ceiling is a lot higher, but I think his floor is a lot lower. So this is ironic for folks that have been listening to us for, like we could safely say, a year now. You're the one that's more boom or bust. Yeah. I'm usually the safer guy.
Absolutely. I'm the gamble guy. I want to go for it all because I believe in the talent. Rick is the more consistent.
Conservative.
Yeah, you're consistent.
I know, and I think we know what we're going to get in Daniel Jones. I don't think we know what we're going to get in Drew Lock. But I'm willing to take the risk because I think his ceiling is a lot higher. And let's be honest. Right now, Eli Manning's going to be their starting quarterback. You can let Drew Lock learn. I think fans will clamor more for Daniel Jones than Drew Lock. I think Drew Lock, we could both agree, is more of a project.
Right.
I think Daniel Jones would be more ready to step in week 1. Giants fans, ownership, do not let anyone start week 1. Your team is terrible, and let Eli continue to get sacked day in, day out.
But yeah, going back to Daniel Jones' point, I believe he has grown up all his life to just look like him, play like him. And going back to that tidbit about OBJ, we do share the same birthday, November 5th, 19. Well, I'm 1991. He's 1992. That's why we're so crazy. Scorpios out there.
November is the 11th month, right?
Yeah.
And April's the 4th month.
Yeah.
So we're only 7 months difference from where we're. No, you were close.
Yeah, I mean the money has a little difference in there, but moving on because we have to. I can't be here.
Number 18. I think we have this for the both of us, Mr. Garrett Bradbury.
Yes, the dancing bear.
The only, I believe, the top center we have coming off the board.
I like him. Did you know a report came out? I don't mean to cut you off.
No.
A report came out that Spielman, the general manager of the Minnesota Vikings, wife said, if you come home drafting a cornerback for the 7th straight year, I will not let you in the house. So you have to go offensive line. You have to protect your $84 million quarterback in Kirk Cousins. And they need to run the ball. They need to do something on offense because that offensive line is terrible. It's terrible.
Or, and here's a thought, maybe they just protect Kirk Cousins. And I think we can go back and forth. I've got my good Ravens.
Yeah.
Always good, always solid team.
Crab cakes and football.
I mean, how can you hate that combo?
But
we just think Bradbury. I don't love any centers. I just think he's the most well-rounded, and I also think he's ready to step in. And it's a very different system from what we'll talk about Baltimore. But they have, hopefully Dalvin Cook can stay on the field this year, but they gave Kirk Cousins a lot of money.
Yeah.
They have Thielen. They have Diggs.
Bum.
They expect him.
He didn't want to come to the Jets. He's a bum.
Who?
Cousins. He used them to get more money out of Minnesota. I can't go into
Well, you have
this right
Darnold. But you have Darnold.
Yeah, you know what? It turned out better for me, like in life.
So I think we could both agree Bradbury is just the most well-rounded center, and I think him and Kirk Cousins will do well together. They need to protect Kirk for that team to do well.
Okay, moving on. The 18th overall pick, Tennessee Titans. And you know where they're going here? They need a little splash. Where's the draft this year? Nashville, Tennessee. They need a splash, and they need it in Hollywood Brown, AB's little cousin. Originally, I had him going to the Chargers.
Yeah, you have him a little later.
But you know what? I'm going to put him going to Tennessee. You need someone opposite of Corey Davis. You need to take the top off the defense and maybe give Mariota that one more year to prove is he the quarterback of the Tennessee Titans. What do you think? You know what? Oh, and by the way, my comp for Hollywood Brown, Marquise Hollywood Brown from Oklahoma, Tyreek Hill. I believe he is that electric.
Okay,
and
one, he's not that electric.
Well, Rick, how are you going to say he's not? You didn't even play a game yet.
For all you folks that have listened to yourself, he also thought Ardarius Stewart.
Oh, come on, we got to bring this up. I said he looked good. I didn't say he was going to be Jerry Rice.
All I remember was receiving a text a few years ago. I was still in school, and Ardarius Stewart was apparently the second coming of Calvin Johnson. I'm pretty sure he never made the NFL field. That's neither here or there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can't see him going this high. I think I don't want to say you've overrated your wide receivers, but I didn't have A.J. Brown going in the first round, and I didn't have I think Marquise Hollywood Brown is the best wide receiver in the group.
Okay.
I had him going much later, but I like him. I just don't know with Mariota. Look, they've given him weapons before. We've seen it. You've said the same thing about Corey Davis, and I don't think you're wrong for Corey Davis. I think the team that he plays for, the situation is poor.
Well, and Flynn is out of there, so the now Green Bay Packer head coach. I believe he was a little more conservative side, run the ball.
But do you get what I'm saying? It just seems we talk about players all the time, and we've said like James Conner stepped in last year for Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. It's a pro running back system. Doesn't seem to be pro wide receiver out there in Tennessee. So we'll see. Maybe he could change that mold, and maybe that's what you're looking at. But I want to be on, and when it comes to that pick, I want to be on the side of this. I want to see it happen first. You might want to make it happen. I want to see it happen. I want to see it be a finished product.
Very fair.
And it's just because they failed so many times in that category.
Go get her. Go get her. All right, moving on to 20. My friend, who do you have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking after the B. Brown, whatever his name is now, saga?
No, Byron Murphy. Look, they need a cornerback.
We agree.
Bad. Yeah. Greedy Williams will obviously not be this far down.
Absolutely
Clearly not. But I think Byron Murphy can do a nice job for them. This is what it seems to be. If you're a wide receiver and you go to Pittsburgh, you're going to be a star. Am I right?
So they could get one later in
right,
the draft.
Exactly. So I think, everyone said, well, you just lost AB, you just lost Lev Bell. They're not as bad off on the offensive end as we think. They still have Juju. They'll still have James Conner. They'll still have Vance McDonald. And they'll still have some pieces. You still have Big Ben, who I think he just re-signed a 2-year extension.
Yes, absolutely. $63 million. Can you believe it?
So hopefully, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll send us some.
Not bad for a former rapist. All right,
that's fair. I'm
lying.
You're not lying.
All right,
but we're gonna try to stick to football.
Okay,
but but in all seriousness, I think they need to address the defense because the Browns have loaded up on the offensive side, and going back to the Bengals, if they draft a quarterback, which you think they're going to,
right?
AJ Green's still out there. John Ross is still out there. They've got a stable of backs. They need defensive help. A lot of points are going to be scored in that division. I think we can all agree
Byron
on
Murphy
that.
from Washington, perfect. Going to the 21st pick, Seattle. They're going Farrell, the edge rusher from Clemson, Clinton Farrell. Cecil Farrell. Can't even spell that. Cecil Farrell, the edge rusher from Clemson, going to Seattle. They just lost Frank Clark. They just traded him to
Kansas City. And Kansas City couldn't have given him an extension any quicker. I think he was still on the flight, and they had an extension.
Well, you know what it is now that they gave the extension to Russell Wilson, who just got paid really good. That guy's living the life.
And maybe that's.
I don't want controllable assets now.
I don't want to say it was Frank Clark or Russell Wilson because anyone in their right mind is choosing Russell Wilson. But I think at the same time, it kind of forced their hand. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the one thing Lev Bell did, and I don't want to keep harping back on this, but that whole franchise tag thing eventually ends up messy.
Yeah.
And if you don't extend someone long term, you don't want an interior lineman out of all positions not wanting to rush the quarterback. Doesn't really work out well. He just clogs up space. So I think it was a good move, and they can get a young, healthy, motivated player, and that's exactly what they'd be getting, including Farrell.
Okay, 22. Your boys, the Baltimore Ravens, crab cakes and football. So, you're on the clock, my friend.
So by far the most important pick of the 32 was clearly going to my Ravens. No, in all seriousness, we'll take Eric McCoy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who they. Sure, we'll give him a lineman. Lamar Jackson. This is their offense, and I'm the biggest, most critical fan out there. It was a gimmicky offense last year.
It was.
The Chargers. What they did, they brought their safeties in. They played like 8 linebackers.
Like
they played,
a 10-man box.
Yeah, right. Lamar Jackson had more of a chance to get 1 yard than it was 1 yard for Lamar. 40 for Phillip Rivers on the other. It was just poor. Right. And I think they're going to try to just double down on it. He's got to establish that he can throw the ball a little bit, but what can you do while Lamar can't throw? You can certainly run the ball. I think what they're going to do in all seriousness, they're going to have Lamar, Mark Ingram, and 9 linemen. We're not going to have any receivers.
No receivers.
Right. They're not going to throw the ball. They're just going to
So what's your pick here? 22 is
Mr. McCoy.
Mr. McCoy. Okay.
The line. Well, you need a no. Right. That's fine. You need a lineman for a guy who can't throw.
Okay. No. I love it. Houston is on the clock. 23. And you know what? I have them going John Abram, the safety out of Mississippi State, I believe. They lost Tyrann Mathieu in free agency to Kansas City. I believe it's a need position for them, and he's the best safety on our boards and the scouts boards out there. So I believe John Abram, he is a replica, I believe, maybe a poorer version, a little bit of Jamal Adams. Thumper.
Yeah, I was going to say like Tony Jefferson. He's going to hit. He's going to thump you. I don't want to say Calvin Pryor because Calvin Pryor was undersized.
Don't even bring that name up in this place.
But Calvin. See, that was the difference though. Calvin Pryor was undersized. He was undersized.
Right.
So
the Louisville Slugger. He's like the Louisville wiffle bat.
Right.
Rat.
No, I like that. Yeah. I do.
I hope you do. But definitely it secures a need for them. And makes their defense even better with Whitley Merciless and J.J. Watt and Clowney that they just signed. Gave all that cash to.
Yeah, no, look.
That's the Brink structure.
I like it. At 24, I did not have this person in my first round when we first went over this yesterday. I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs at 24.
To the Oakland
Raiders. I'm sorry, to the Raiders.
And this is the Khalil Mack pick.
Yeah, so basically, if we want to recap the Raiders, because they're done after they got one more pick, but up to this point, they can really, really make an impact.
Absolutely.
They'll have
3 picks.
They have 3 picks. We assume, Ed Oliver will still be around at 4. Obviously, we're not going perfect, but you have a chance to get an impact defensive player and the best running back, we can both agree, in the class, and a corner, or another defensive player. This team, I hate to say it because I don't like Gruden. I don't think his system, his old attitude, not old, but the attitude, it's not going to work. He won't have excuses anymore. He won't. Maybe not this year. They won't be great right away, but we have to see some flashes. And Josh Jacobs, we go back and forth on these Alabama running backs.
Yeah.
Like Mark Ingram was pretty solid. Trent Richardson,
And
TJ Yeldon.
surprisingly, he wasn't used and abused by Nick Saban because he uses and abuses people.
Right.
That's the NFL of college.
Eddie Lacy.
Yeah, Alabama.
I mean, could we make I think Mark Ingram might be the best one.
Absolutely. And maybe
he's good.
Maybe coming on now, the past year and a half, Kenyon Drake.
Sure, but he's a scat back. Okay. He's not even a thumper.
Pounder, yeah.
I think Josh Jacobs is going to be an instant thumper. You know who he reminds me of? Darius Geis a little bit. And I don't know if Darius Geis is going to be Darius Geis because of the torn ACL. But at the same, last year never even got in the field, unfortunately.
Because
but I think I like the comparison. They played against a physical SEC front. Meanwhile, he's going up against guys like Quinnen Williams in practice.
Yeah, that could get you better.
Jonah Williams was blocking for him in practice, so I think he knows what he sees around him. I don't think the size is going to change much. I don't think the speed is going to change all that much. I think he's going to be a good fit in Oakland.
Absolutely, I agree with that pick 100%. The thing about Josh Jacobs, he reminds me of Kareem Hunt. Just because he could come out of the backfield, make those plays. He's
an all-purpose back.
It's an air raid offense in 2019. And running backs are asked to not only block, not only obviously run, but to catch the ball out of the backfield and actually line up like a receiver, like my boy Lev Bell. So Josh Jacobs to Oakland, perfect match. And that's what they were lacking in beast mode last year.
He just didn't have the explosiveness. And it's not his fault. We're not saying he's not good. He was just older. And he did retire.
If this was 5 years ago, yeah.
In all seriousness, if we're going to rank, just since we got to the Oakland point, we have to say in terms of careers, beast mode in Seattle, beast mode at the Bills, beast mode at the Raiders, right? And that Seattle
is number one.
Right, Seahawks, Bills, Raiders.
Absolutely.
Fantastic career. Is he a Hall of Famer? It's going to be close.
Rick, I think that's another show.
Might be another show.
Moving to 25, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. And I say they go Dexter Lawrence here. I believe you could just put him next to Fletcher Cox. I believe they have a dominant front already. And Brandon Graham.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe this is just adding more to the rotation. The more you could add to the rotation of defensive linemen, keep them fresh. That's how they won that Super Bowl against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, because they're getting that A-gap pressure on a non-running quarterback. And anytime you could refresh your linemen, bring new ones in to pass rush, it's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. 26, my friend. Where are you going with this?
I had Jonathan Abram. I don't love saying that anymore.
Well, he's taken.
Right, no. Yeah. But before I was starting to think about it, I'm very, very, very high on Darnell Savage Jr.
And this is to the Indianapolis Colts.
Correct. I think that team was really good on the defensive side, much better. Because we go back 2 years, mm-hmm. They couldn't stop us.
Right.
Last year, much improved. I give the coaching staff a lot of credit for addressing the issue. We talk about teams that sometimes don't address the issue. Sometimes they just get guys to get guys, and they try to figure it out. I think with Savage Jr. and Malik Hooker, you might have your safety duo for a long time.
That's a real good tandem.
You might worry about money in the years later, but I'm saying for the first few years, This Colts team is going to be even better than I think.
And they still have money left over. They had $100+ mil in cap space, and I think they used $30 million of it. So they have another 70 laying somewhere. Right. So watch out for them in the future. You know what?
And I think all the players, I think they got the money they deserved.
Okay.
And I don't think Indy was willing to overpay for Lev Bell. I think they like the spot that they're in. Don't have the best running backs out there, but they don't want to blow the cap space. And I think they did a good job by being smart.
Good point.
And because we've seen teams overpay, they get their money, and we don't know what
That's
happens.
a great point, and especially that there are a lot of running backs in this class, but this is a heavy defensive class. I believe a running back is in the future for the Colts, second to third round.
Right.
Yeah, they could get a Henderson or Snell in the later rounds. Moving on, we have the Dallas pick coming up. This is Oakland, again, for the third and final time. This is the Amari Cooper trade. So while the Oakland is putting this pick in, I think the Cowboys will be watching Amari Cooper scoring a bunch of touchdowns on the Washington Redskins. And week
think
12.
I think a lot of people will be scoring on the Washington Redskins.
Right. So at this point, I'm gonna go Rock Ya-Sin. Yes, that's his name, Rock Ya. He's gonna rock ya.
Is it Rock Ya or Rock Ya-Sin?
It's
I still don't.
Ya-Sin.
No, so it's Ya-Sin is his last name.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm not gonna lie. I watched
it's Ya-Sin.
I watched about one Temple game this year.
Yeah. So he's coming from the Temple Birds and going to Oakland. I believe they have a need at cornerback, and this would fit the bill. For the Oakland recap, we have them going. Ed Oliver, Josh Jacobs, and Rock Ya-Sin. That's a great draft.
That would be a great draft for them. Absolutely.
And they're filling their needs surrounding Terrell Williams, AB, and Derek Carr and the new look Raiders. Moving on, we are at the 28th pick. My friend, where are you going with this?
I'm going to go Dexter Lawrence.
No. We did Dexter Lawrence at
Philly.
Philly.
We didn't do Dexter Lawrence.
Yes, we did. He went to
All
Philly.
all three Clemson guys are gone?
Yes.
All
No.
right.
Wilkins is still on the board.
Okay, fine. Then I'll give him Christian Wilkins. And it's
perfect.
And it's ironic.
No, yeah.
No, it's ironic that we say that because I think all three of these players will be very productive.
Okay.
So I think for any of these spots, we're talking about the we're talking about multiple
Chargers,
players, right? We're talking about the Chargers. We can go through it. I think anyone who needs a defensive lineman, I saw last year all three of these guys make an impact. I think all three of these guys are going to go in the first round tonight. I think they're going to hear their name called, and they will make an instant impact. I've never seen a more motivated positional group in the history of this draft.
Question to you. Do Dean Spanos and the Chargers brass with Lynn, do they think about getting their quarterback of the future right here? I mean, you have Rivers on the payroll for another 2 seasons.
I don't
You have
see
somebody that could sit. I believe this is a great spot maybe for if Drew – I mean, I don't see Drew Lock falling this far. But the quarterback, Will Grier from West
or maybe
Virginia.
maybe if they fell in love with someone like Stidham
Right.
or something like that. I don't know. Maybe
It's
Ryan,
an option. It's
or
an option.
Finley. I think Ryan Finley's got a great comp.
Yeah.
I know it's an NC State thing, so some people might be like, "Oh, well, you just picked an NC State guy." Phillip Rivers went to NC State. No, I really think Ryan Finley would be a good comp. I just don't see it happening.
Okay.
I think this Charger team, let's be honest, they're ready right now.
Yeah.
To take a quarterback to me right now is wasting a first-round pick.
Right. I just believe, in the essence of them and
Unless you don't feel there's an impact player left
Right.
at this point. And maybe that's where you're looking because
Right.
obviously this is the late first, beginning of the second. Some of these guys might take a while.
Mhm.
I think, let's be honest, if we look at these three Clemson D linemen, I think they're top 10 picks in most other drafts.
Mm-hmm.
This just happens to be a draft that they're loaded everywhere. You know what I mean? So or top 15 picks maybe. So it just happens to be this year that they're falling in the later because the players alongside them are a tad bit better, a tad bit more explosive, a tad bit quicker.
Okay. At 29, we have Seattle, and this is the pick from Frank Clark. I believe they go Brian Burns, Florida State. I think now you kind of recreate the 2015 Seattle new Legion of Boom, and you have Brian Burns, and what did we give him before? We gave him, Clinton Farrell.
Yes.
So Clinton Farrell, Brian Burns, hey, you're looking good right
Yeah,
there.
that would be good. And I don't
That's
know.
some good pass rush.
I don't know if they're trying to recreate that, but it would be
It'd be nice.
solid if they did.
But don't be surprised if they take that same pick and trade it down because them and the Patriots are known for that. Just taking picks, trading down because Pete Carroll loves those 4th rounders and beyond. That's how they got Richard Sherman. Moving on to 30. My friend, what do you have for me?
I'm going to go Jeffrey Simmons.
Okay. To the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. Jeffrey Simmons, another Mississippi State player.
But add the little tidbit in there that he's
That
out
he's
for
hurt.
the out for the year.
But I think the reason that they can make that move is because of Mike Daniels. I think that he can hold down the fort. Look, we've always known the Packers to be a bend don't break type of defense. So
Right.
I think that's what they're going to be this year. I also had them potentially taking a wide receiver like a Paris Campbell, add another weapon.
Okay.
But I think they're, if you're getting Jeffrey Simmons, he's not playing.
Mm-hmm.
So if fans are willing to kind of wait, I think that'd be fine. But I think he could be a real. He's another one. He might be a top 10 pick if he's healthy.
No, absolutely.
Like I think these injuries or just the depth for these D linemen is through the roof. I don't think, have we ever seen anything like this where one positional group is good? We're not just saying there's a lot of them. We're saying these guys are good. We haven't said that in a long time.
No, absolutely. And I believe it is the deepest defensive draft I have ever seen. Other than that, we move along. And with the 31st pick, you know what? I'm going to have another toy for Mr. Sean McVay. They are loaded at wide receiver, but I'm going to add another one because I can. And I'm going to go DK Metcalf. This is a very raw player. Has the, I would say, we could say Anquan Bolden kind of makeup. I believe he could go to the Rams, be around Brandon Cooks, be around Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods.
Yeah,
and who
that
knows?
Would be pretty.
And that's loaded. And let's keep in mind also too, we don't know how Gurley is going to come back. So maybe we just go all in on our bread and butter of
that play action, crossing route type of
right. And that would be a stud 4.
Yeah.
So I mean that goes back to like the Chargers. You could go anywhere with the Chargers and the Rams because I believe those two teams have one of the best rosters in the NFL.
Yeah,
overall balance.
I agree. They're very balanced.
So DK Metcalf to the Rams.
And the final pick, shocker,
that's to the champions.
Right. I feel like we're saying that one all the time.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna have a boring pick, but if I'm a Patriot fan, I have two guys. Irv Smith Jr. I'd love to replace Rob Gronkowski, or N'Keal Harry. Josh Gordon is their, I don't want to say property, but if Josh Gordon does make it back, he will be a Patriot wide receiver. But right now they're very, very thin. It's Julian Edelman, Philip Dorsett, and not much else. They would be relying on a lot of young guys. N'Keal Harry seems like someone that if I can get him at the end of the first round, his body, the problem with Arizona State this year was it was just him on an island, and they just couldn't get him the ball, or he'd have to make these spectacular catches. Guys like DK Metcalf or A.J. Brown or Hollywood Brown, their numbers were better, but N'Keal Harry played through injury. Hollywood Brown got hurt.
Correct.
DK Metcalf missed games. He played through these injuries. I don't think it's going to be either of these two. I think they're going to end up with Ryan Finley.
Okay.
At first.
So what's the pick at 32?
No, Ryan Finley. I'm saying if I'm a Patriot fan, I'm looking at a
all
playmaker.
Options,
I just think that they're going to go with Ryan Finley.
So you're going Ryan Finley to the Pats. You see, I had Irv Smith Jr. because I believe,
we're on the same. We're on the same
page
boat.
Of you have to replace Rob Gronkowski, and I believe Irv Smith Jr. kind of smells to me like a Jordan Reed, right? Maybe a better one, but doesn't have a scrambled eggs brain.
Yeah, well, I really had Daniel Jones if he got there. I just don't know if he's going to make it.
Right. They look like they would get like a Will Grier in the 3rd round.
Well, so you know what? As we do this, we have to sacrifice picks for each other.
Right.
Correct. So I obviously we have our own, but as the show goes along and as we start to discuss,
it's a combination.
We've got to kind of So I would like to see them really get Daniel Jones. You're saying he won't be around. I probably don't think he'll be around either. I'm just going in a perfect world.
Right.
We're not going to give Ed Oliver to the Patriots. He's not going to be around at 32.
No.
We're not going to waste everyone's time with stupid stuff.
No.
But realistically, Daniel Jones might fall to 32. That's realistic.
Well, that's the thing. I believe
these quarterbacks can really go anywhere.
The quarterbacks, other than Murray and Haskins, you're really looking at Drew Lock, Daniel Jones, can go anywhere between 6 and 36, to be quite honest with you. It depends on how big of the need is of the team and how much they are willing to go for. It's like a girl, if you think they're that good, you go for it.
Yeah, you make a move. But before we wrap up, we are a New York, New Jersey-based show.
Yes, we are, my friend.
I will let you take the Jets. Tell me, forget about the mock drafts.
Yeah.
In all seriousness,
right.
Tell me your pick for the Jets. They're picking at 3. I would say you pretty much have all your picks.
Right.
I'll take the Giants because I'm neutral. I'll take the Giants and give my. I'm not and I'll give the picks for the Giants.
So for the Jets, I want them to go either Josh Allen or Quentin Williams. Now, if Nick Bosa, God willingly, falls to them and say someone trades with San Francisco, I go Bosa, Josh Allen, or Quentin Williams. My mock draft was just based on what I hear, what I see from people, and I believe they love Quentin Williams more just for the fact of Greg Williams is the defensive coordinator. He likes those defensive tackles in the trenches, get the run game stopped.
Sheldon Richardson type of player? They're in the interior type of...
Yeah, absolutely. Just based on the traits of playing, not personality-wise, because Sheldon Richardson was a whack job. But
right, I meant playing style.
Right. Yeah. No, he did some wacky things. But other than that...
He was passionate. We could say he was passionate.
He was just like me, too. So other than that, who would you say is your sleeper as we end our show?
The biggest sleeper to me, we didn't even get to him, Paris Campbell.
I love him.
I think he is much. Would you say, before I get to my point, did you like John Ross last year?
It's like one of those things, he's there.
Right. I think John Ross is best as a punt kick returner who needs a position, similar to Devin Hester.
Yeah.
I think Paris Campbell is really, really good in that slot.
Yes, absolutely.
And if he gets out of the first round, I'd be shocked if he gets past pick 40 in the second round.
No, you're absolutely right.
That's my sleeper, guy we didn't even get to.
You know the comp I'm really thinking about, and this is really throwback. Redskin fans and Jets fans will know. Santana Moss.
Yeah.
I believe he has that top-end speed, but you could line him up as an AB in the slot, go over the middle. So my comp for him, Santana Moss, which is a name
which
that
would
we
be a good if he turned into Santana Moss.
Yeah,
I feel like that'd be a pretty productive player
from the U.
Yeah, they seem to produce a lot of good talent.
A sleeper for me, Emmanuel Hall from Mizzou. I believe this is a guy that's being overlooked.
Where do you have him going? Because
I have him going in the second round.
Early in the second round. I believe as early as the first pick in the second round. So in that Paris Campbell type of range, right. You don't see these guys getting past 40. Overall, 40
no. I could easily see him, Paris Campbell, go to San Francisco, who's definitely in need of wide receiver. The first wide receiver off the board in the second round, Emmanuel Hall, to the Arizona Cardinals, because Larry Fitzgerald is getting up there in age. And do we really want to rely on Chad Williams and Christian Kirk? I like Christian Kirk, but we need a little more over there. And if you're going to invest in a Kyler Murray, you're going to need some more.
Right, and that's the thing. We assume they're going to take Kyler. I think they are. And the minute they do, Josh Rosen will be on the block.
Absolutely. Chosen Rosen. I forgot to wear my T-shirt today. It says Free Rosen because they're just doing him dirty. They're just doing my boy dirty.
Well, he was terrible.
Like he needs a billboard.
He was terrible.
Yeah,
they're not doing him dirty. He sucked.
I mean, look at the guys that he had around him. Joe Montana would have sucked.
He was terrible. No, I understand.
For another show.
I understand, but at the same time, if you bring in Kingsbury, I think you're willing to start over. Okay. It's like trying to fit a triangle in a circle square. If you make the circle square with Cliff Kingsbury and you have a triangle piece, it's not going to work. Why don't you get the circle square? The circle piece.
Get your pieces.
Right, exactly. So if you bring in the coach that couldn't win a game at Texas Tech, you might as well try to bring in the quarterback that can fit in that system.
Absolutely. Well, folks, it's been a pleasure. I believe we have 58 minutes of this. But that is our mock draft 2019 show, 1-year anniversary. Hopefully we could go more live for you in the coming shows. To see our picks, please go to JFP Sports, and I'll post it in the story, and you could just recap who Ricky and I decided on picking. And that, my friend, good show. Love doing it with you. To Gab behind the glass over there, D Nanas, obviously, no show today. Yeah, he had to go get his jaw fixed. I wonder why. Other than that, in the great words of Dr. Seuss, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. So see you next time.